Hey everyone, Tim with Collectible Jurassic, and we're back with a unboxing so big I can barely fit it all on the table in the video frame. As you can see here, we're looking at new Mattel Dino Escape releases for 2021. We have Mega Destroyer Stegosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, we have Roar Attack Bumpy, Baryonyx Limbo, and Ceratosaurus, and the biggest of all, Super Colossal Carnotaurus Toro, all on the table, all ready to be unboxed in today's video. We'll be doing some comparisons. We'll be doing a little bit of a review on each figure and showing off some of the cool new features like these awesome Roar Attack features. They kind of have to be shown on camera to be believed. We also have the capture gear as part of the Mega Destroyers line. So a lot of cool stuff to look at. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the Roar Attack line. This is the new $14.99 assortment for this year from Mattel, kind of replacing Roarvors, Dual Attack, that kind of toy line they've been doing for a while. And there is a unique feature with this Roar Attack that we will go ahead and look at on each figure that makes it a little bit different than the figures that have come before it. But let's go ahead and start off with Ceratosaurus here. You can see it has that. All these boxes have that nice Dino Escape, a little bit of Camp Cretaceous branding too, with Darius on there, in addition to Toro. And all three of these figures, incidentally, are in the show for what it's worth. So that's kind of interesting that in this wave, every single figure is meant to be part of Camp Cretaceous. You also have the render on the back for Ceratosaurus here, showing how it works, and then just a little sneak peek of how the Roar Attack feature works in 3 stages, which we'll definitely look at when we get the figure out. But it's nice, this is kind of a return to form to Roarvors, where they disconnect the tail and put it elsewhere in the package so that the box can be a little bit more, a little bit smaller, and they can fit more on the shelf. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open this one up. I'm just going to do a couple snips. Should come out just the figure itself, followed by the tail, which is a little bit, I'm going to have to open this up a little bit more aggressively to get the tail out. No problem. And then the tail comes out as a separate piece. So we'll go ahead and put the box aside. Note that there's no Camp Cretaceous cards or stickers this year with Camp Cretaceous figures. You just get the figure itself, and that's that. So the tail just literally snaps in here. And then we have the Ceratosaurus, the Roar Attack Ceratosaurus. As you can see here, what's interesting, and I'll do a comparison, is that this figure might look familiar, but it's actually not just a retool, it's a new sculpt. There's some new stuff going on with the head, and the pose overall is a little bit different than the Ceratosaurus we got before. But let's talk about the Roar Attack feature. Articulation, of course, is the same. We have the arms and the legs that move, just like the other Ceratosauruses. Nice hinge joints on these arms. The legs have sort of like a ball joint that lets them rotate front and back, but also outwards too, which I always like about these more expensive toys. The legs, well, we'll do a comparison here in a second, but I'm saying right now the legs definitely feel a little bit easier to pose than a previous Ceratosaurus figure. The tail is also on a rotating joint. I'm not sure if the other figure doesn't have that. So we'll definitely, let's just go ahead and get the other figure on the table because I keep referring to it. You can see just how similar these figures are in paint coloration, but you're already getting an idea of how different they are sculpt-wise. Just right there, you can see that the face is totally different. This one almost has a little bit, I don't know, the teeth look humorously large in the first version. They're a little bit more low-key in this other version. And the tail you can see on this version is literally just a tail that rotates. Whereas this one, it actually has a ball joint. That's kind of cool. That's actually a nice little touch here. But otherwise, they have the exact same paint application. But what's really cool about the Roar Attack one is you have this switch on the back that gives you 3 different modes of roars. You have the first one, and notice I just clicked it and it's in place, and I already have the jaws open. I don't have to hold it. Do it again. Get a little bit bigger of a roar, and do it one more time, and get the biggest roar. Different lengths on the sounds. What's so cool is that it actually holds that pose. Toy photographers out there, I think, are really going to dig that you can just pose the roar and it stays. I mean, that's pretty cool, as opposed to having to put a stick in the button or something. I love all the poses you can do with this now. Look at that. How cool is that? No No extra pieces required. The feet are definitely considerably bigger on this new figure. I mean, look at this. And there's some scan codes. Everybody loves scan codes. I'm showing one incidentally just to show how, look how big the feet are on the new figure. They're much bigger, which lets it stand so much easier. This other Ceratosaurus is definitely infamous for being one of the harder to pose Mattel figures, harder to make stand. So I love this new Ceratosaurus. This is like, I just really like it out of the box. I was already looking forward to it. Now that I have it in my hand, really digging it. And I like that we kind of have two of the same colorway too, but with different poses. So very cool. Ceratosaurus, Roar Attack. That is our first Roar Attack figure. Next up, let's go ahead and hit up Baryonyx Limbo. Go ahead and snip it out. Same thing as before. We got the box with the Camp Cretaceous branding. Before I forget, we'll look at the back of the box too. There's Limbo, back of the box. And let's go ahead and pop Limbo out. There's Limbo. Go ahead and get that tail out again. Again, got to get a little aggressive to get that out. They got it in plastic in here, so it doesn't fall out. This is another figure we can do comparisons on, of course, which is always fun. And then we just snap that tail in like this one has got notches. Can't get this one in. There we go. All right, tail's in. And there we go. There's Limbo. I'm going to go ahead and get the other Limbo figure we already have, just so we can get our comparisons going. Wow, let me see if I can get this one to stand up. Wow, they really want you to make this one have a wide gate here. So there's the Grim we already got with the Camp Adventure set. And this is the new Grim, the new Roar Attack Grim. First thing out the gate that I'm noticing about these figures is the Adventure set one has this nice little underpaint on the neck that makes it a little more detailed looking, whereas the new one does not have that. This one is even an electronic, and it has more paint on it than Roar Attack over here. I will say that they both have unpainted nails, but for some reason, it really sticks out on this one that it doesn't have painted nails or a painted neck. Seems like it just has a really reduced paint budget. The tones of the green on them are different too. You can already see the base colors very similar, maybe a little bit more vibrant in the new Roar Attack. But the back green is definitely way darker on the old version versus the new version. But other than that, they're very similar. They're almost the same pose. Their legs are posed a little bit differently. This one has the right leg in front, the right leg facing frontward. This one has the left leg facing frontward. So they're a little bit different in that regard too, but they're basically the same figure, just retooled. This one has that Roar Attack, 3 modes, and one more. So just like the Ceratosaurus, it has that really cool ability to pose its jaws open, which I just think that is so cool. I know people have been critical of the Switch. A lot of my good collector friends definitely have taken issue with it, but it does not bother me personally. Not a big deal. I think on some of the figures it's a little weird, but it's not a disaster to me. And the trade-off for being able to do these cool poses, like in my display up here, having a couple different wide roars or closed roars, I think that's a good trade-off. I can live with it. I love how you can do these new poses without having to resort to jamming stuff in the button. What's interesting to me about this Grim though is how wide a stance it has. When I saw the pictures of it, the official photos, I figured that was just whoever was taking the photos posing it awkwardly, but no, it just has that wide of a stance. You can see how much wider it is than the other one, and for good reason, because the other one doesn't stand up very well either. So maybe we're ushering in a new trend with Mattel dinos, which is having bigger a bigger stance, a wider stance, so they stand a little better. I noticed it with the Ceratosaurus too, but it looks a little awkward on the Baryonyx. I'm not gonna lie. He looks like he's been riding a horse saddle for too long or something, but that's Grim. I'm a little disappointed that the paint isn't a little more complex like the previous version of the figure, but the Roar Attack features is definitely fun too. Let's get to Bumpy now. Very excited about this one. Ankylosaurus Bumpy, obviously from Series 2 or Series 3, where Bumpy is a little bit bigger. We have the Bumpy render on the back of the box. So that's Bumpy for you. We'll go ahead and free her. Should be no tail to attach. She should just come out straight up. Go ahead and put Bumpy down. And we'll definitely do a comparison with Bumpy 2 because it's a little bit different than you think. There's Bumpy. I love how she has these nice, large, bumpy eyes on both sides. Very nice. The other thing that makes Bumpy Bumpy is that those asymmetric horns there. You can see she's got a longer horn over here and a much shorter horn on this side, just like Bumpy in the show. And obviously she's got Bumpy colors too. She's got the Roar Attack feature, which in her case isn't really a roar. It is a tail. That's cool. Even sounds like Bumpy. So the first 2 clicks kind of lock the tail back, and the final click makes it swing. That's kind of fun. And yeah, again, it sounds just like Bumpy. I did want to do a quick comparison to a previous released Ankylosaurus. This one, the dual attack, this is a Roar. The only other Ankylosaurus we have besides this one is the same, just a different color. But you can see the body, they're the same. They have very much the same body. 100%, just with the different reworking for the switches, but the heads are totally different. The head on Bumpy is actually much larger than the previous release of the Ankylosaurus. Obviously, the horns are different, but the head itself, I don't know if you can see in here, but it's plain to see in person how much bigger Bumpy's head is. Sorry, I'm trying to put it on the camera so everyone can see how much bigger Bumpy's head is. It's noticeably bigger. The eyes are bigger. It's scaled up a little bit, which I think actually works better. I mean, this head, I never thought it looked small before on the regular Ankylosaurus, but seeing Bumpy, this one just feels a little better, having those nice large eyes. I like the paint they brought into the sides and on top of the legs and the underbelly. Like, that's really nice. They have that little shade right here. I'm glad they put that extra paint budget into Bumpy. You can see that Roar doesn't really have that extra paint budget. Curious that it did get that extra bit of detail, whereas Grim is sort of lacking a little bit in the paint territory. But I guess Bumpy is sort of a hero character, so I guess I get it. I love that though. That's cool. So those are the Roar Attack figures for Dino Escape, all 3 of them. Pretty exciting stuff. But let's go ahead and get to the Mega Destroyers. I'm very excited about them because we have some new species. And honestly, I'm pretty excited about the Stegosaurus too because the colors are incredible. I don't think I appreciated that in the early photography of it. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm really, really digging the colors. This might be my favorite Stegosaurus yet. Out of the, how many have we got so far? 3? This is our 4th Mattel Stegosaurus. You can see on the back, they show you how it works with the capture gear, which will definitely get out when we get this bad boy out. So let's go ahead and open up Stego here. Looks like we got a couple things to cut, but nothing too major. She should just pop out. Looks like she's got one in her foot that we can just rip out. There's Stego. Let's go ahead and get her capture gear out. Capture gear is very, very big, very heavy duty. I guess when you're trying to keep a Stegosaurus in line, you gotta have some heavy duty capture gear. So here is the Stegosaurus. You can see it's got this huge joint down the middle that's associated with the action feature, which I think is, yeah, when you press this fin down, the whole back part of the figure moves, which is kind of cool versus just the tail on the other figures. The whole thing is jointed. The whole body is jointed. It almost reminds me of Thrash and Throw T-Rex, but you get a little bit more body action when it moves. The whole thing moves. I'll go ahead and try this capture gear out while we're at it. I should look at the box, right? Kind of get an idea of how this capture gear goes on. Looks like it fits with the bigger piece on top and those pieces. It's kind of, I think it goes like that. Maybe. Yeah, like that. Kind of fits over the spikes. locks on like so. Cool. Get it all locked in. There it is, locked in. So now she's been incapacitated with her capture gear. All this metal bolt work and padding is all on there. But can she escape? I think the answer is yes. Let's see if we can. Yep. Shot the capture gear across my room even. So she breaks out just like the Stomp and Strike T-Rex with the capture gear. She breaks out. I love the head too. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other Stegosaurus because I think I'm noticing a difference there too. So another figure that has been retooled over the ages of Mattel with different. This is the first Stegosaurus. It has the tail. It has the action that you just press this and the tail moves. This has the same exact hinges on the tail, except it has that body hinge too that lets the whole body swing, which is really fun. Makes it feel a little bit realistic. But the head, I definitely think the head again is a case of a larger head. And I actually did always think the head on this Stegosaur was incredibly small, but if you know something about actual Stegosaurs, like actually scientifically accurate Stegosaurs, their heads are pretty small. But it looks like Mattel wanted to make it a little bit more of a character dinosaur and make its head a little bigger, maybe make the beak open too, which is different. But I like it. I like the look of it better. I like the detail on it. It's got a lot of nice, if you can see in the video, it's got a lot of nice crispy scale detail where the other head doesn't necessarily have that. And the open beak is kind of fun too. So a little bit larger of a head compared to the other Stegosaur. And of course that reworked action feature. The colors are what are really, really impressing me about this Stegosaurus though. I just love the color they chose. Looks like all the, while the fins are unpainted, they are cast on different plastics, so they do pop a little bit better on this figure. I love this thing though. This is definitely my favorite Mattel Stegosaurus so far. I'm not huge into toy photography, but when I get a cool toy, I'm inspired, and I'm definitely inspired by this one. So probably be taking this one outside very soon to get some nice glamour photos. We'll go ahead and lock her up in her capture gear one last time while we move on to the next unboxing. So we'll go ahead and snap this in for everybody one more time. Literally has two pegs that line up and snap, and there she is, captured, contained. I love it. Love that figure. Really nice. But let's go ahead and get Carcharodontosaurus out. This is an all new figure, so I think every figure we've looked at so far has been a retool or a repaint of some sort. Ceratosaurus, Limbo, Ankylosaurus, Bumpy, Stegosaurus, but this is an all-new figure, and it's based on the colorations of Jurassic World Evolution, the video game, which is lots of fun. And again, another figure that when I saw the pictures of, I wasn't too excited, but once we started to see more looks and close-ups of the head, I got really excited for this one because it's got just kind of a different animalistic look than other Mattel carnivores. But here's the back showing the capture gear and how the figure itself works. But we'll go ahead and open her up. A couple snips. And she's free. Very cool. And let me go ahead and get the capture gear out. Can't forget about the capture gear. There it is. Comes in one big piece that I think we can just open up. So there is the Carcharodontosaurus. It's got really big feet. Really big feet. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but there's no way this thing's falling over. It has some really nice articulation. It looks like it's got independent articulation on the legs, so you can pose them independently. They also have that rotating kind of pseudo ball joint that lets you make the stance wider. You also have the arms that are on the hinge, like the Roar Attacks, that lets you swing outward and rotate. Both of those, all unpainted claws. Worth pointing out. The tail has a nice rotation on it. The paint actually goes through the tail, which is not something you see very often with Mattel figures, but we have paint on top and on both sides for the tail. So a little extra paint budget on this one. I also love this airbrush of orange they have that comes up through the head. And the head is probably my favorite part of this thing. It just has a very different look, again, from other Mattel carnivores, and I really dig the way it looks, honestly. It looks really, really nice. Action feature-wise, we have kind of like a snapping feature, very, very reminiscent of the first Action Attack Carnotaur. So this guy's mouth doesn't get too large. It literally just kind of opens and snaps. But still just a very beautiful sculpted figure. Capture gear wise, we have these nice big pieces that fit on. I'm already, whoops, did I put this on upside down? Probably. Yeah, it looks like I put it. See how it has the little eye covers like a horse? Those fit over the eye. I like that. Kind of fits over the eye so the animal doesn't get excited. And he will break out of this. Let's get it off my head. Get it off my head. I like this button. It's kind of got like a soft plastic to it, look to it too. Yeah, it's like soft plastic there. So that's super fun. I love this capture gear, especially on the carnivores, like the T-Rex, where it can just break out. This one's even easier to put on than the Stegosaurus. Put it right back on and very cool. That's what's drastic about these toys, is that they've been captured and, you know, contained in a park. So having them, you know, have these come with these capture gear accessories, I think is essential. It really kind of helps the role play for kids, and it's fun to collect that kind of stuff too. I mean, collect dinosaur toys all day, but having some capture gear in there just makes them a little bit more special. So those are both the what are they, Mega Destroyers? Yeah, Mega Destroyers, Carcharodontosaurus and Stegosaurus with this awesome capture gear. Hers is really hard to break out of, isn't it? That's good. That means it's doing its job, right? So those are those, and we got the Roar Attacks, but I think the main event here, and it's going to be probably one of the harder boxes to do on camera, but we're going to give it a try, is the Super Colossal Toro. This thing is huge, and it's detailed, and it looks beautiful, and I honestly don't know if I even have room for it on my shelf back there, but I always figure it out, so I'm sure I'll figure it out for this one. So let me move some toys around so we actually have some room to work with here, right? Get out Toro here. Get the box in frame. Can we see it? Nice big box. I love how they do this windowed box. Then they do artwork of the rest of the figure. So you get an idea of what the figure's going to look like without them having to make the box huge, because obviously they have the tail and the legs all taken apart inside. So that's Toro from the front. I'm going to slide it over from the back. Looks like they have a nice render of it roaring and eating some minifigures. You can see some of the new minifigures we're getting too, like Cyat, Irritator, Bumpy, Adult Bumpy. So those are all on the way, those new minis. Looks like just like the other figures, this one will swallow toys. No door in the belly. It looks like it just spits them out maybe, but we can see when we open up the figure. We can also see some of the other minis coming. We have Tarbosaurus, the glowing Parasaurolophus, one of my favorites. So let's go ahead and get Toro out. Sorry, this is awkward. I have to keep sliding it completely off frame and then back in frame. But let's see how painful this one's going to be to get out on camera. I'm going to need a knife, but we'll get it out. We'll get all the pieces out. We'll build it, and we'll hope that everyone at home can actually see it and it's not too big. So let me pull out this end of the box. Looks like we have some ties I can snip. All right, so already coming loose. Looks like we have some stuff inside. We have one leg. We have a tail. Wow, the detail on these Super Colossals always impresses me, and this one looks like it's no different. Another leg. Oh, this one's stuck in a bag. Looks like they went out of their way to cover up the legs with plastic and cardboard so that the toenail paint didn't get hurt, which I really appreciate. All right, let me just see if I can slide Toro out of here the rest of the way by cutting some snips out by the head. Okay, let's see. Again, I apologize for not being able to get this thing all on camera, but it's a huge figure, so bear with me. Looks like we still have to open up some things. Let me get this out of the way. Get my knife back out. There we go. Okay, now we can get Toro out. Got a mess of of packing materials all over the table now, but she's free. At least the part of her body that we need is free. So here is Toro unassembled. We do have to put the legs on, get some of this these ties out that we don't need anymore. Other than that, she's ready to get assembled. So, get this. Wow. What an awesome look. Oh, it does have a door. There, go figure. They don't have that in the back of the box. But let's go ahead and put the, let's get the legs out. So you can see they have cardboard covering the toenails, which is really nice. Keeps the paint on these nails looking really nice. Go ahead and snap this leg in. Okay. I think that's snapped in. Go ahead and double check. Get this other leg in. This detail on this thing is seriously beautiful. This is just a gorgeous looking figure. Go ahead and snap that leg in. Oh, that one really went in. This one didn't snap in. Let's see if we can get it to snap in. Still can't get it to snap in. And then the tail goes on like this is another one that only goes one way, so don't want to mess this up. Okay, whoa. Can we get this thing all on in frame? That's the question. I still can't get this left leg on though. I mean, it's on, it just won't snap in. I don't want it to pop off. Yeah, that's as far as it's going to go in for now anyway. Whoa. All right, can we get this thing in frame? Oh my gosh, we can. It is a huge, huge figure. And it's definitely, just like its predecessors in the Super Colossal line, it has a ton of detail. I mean, look at the face there with all of the scales. The mouth opens on the bottom jaw and the top jaw, just like the Indominus and the T-Rex in blue. So you can have like different dynamic roars with just the top jaw or just the bottom jaw, like normal figures where you're just posing the top jaw. Or you can keep it shut, which is fun too. Articulation-wise, its neck rotates, which is pretty cool because it can still swallow figures, right? But they added that hinge there so that the neck rotates. Has that nice big scar on the face that Toro has, painted red as well. So this isn't just any Carnotaurus, you know this is Toro. Looks like the arms have just one axis of articulation. The tail, of course, rotates left and right. That's just like the other Super Colossals. And then the legs can rotate like that too, so you can. There, now it's out of camera. You can pose it up, you can pose it down. You can do all kinds of stuff, which I really appreciate that. For display purposes, it's nice to be able to kind of do some different stuff on display. But that figure is huge, and all that detail is throughout the whole figure. On the legs, you can see all the scratches and bumps. This thing just has an immense level of detail, and it is a beautiful version of the Carnotaurus. Nice painted underbelly, darker coloration on top. Just an awesome figure. Definitely one of the, probably next to Indominus, my favorite Super Colossal. They just really nailed it with the detail of this one. Super Colossal Toro, looking great. Next to all these other figures, of course, it's not in scale with them. Super Colossal by default is its own separate scale, but I love these new Dinoscape figures, all of them. We got Stegosaurus, we got Carcharodontosaurus, Mega Destroyers, we got Roar Attack Bumpy, Baryonyx Limbo, and Ceratosaurus, all joining the roster. Just some excellent toys today from the Dinoscape line that Mattel just came out with. These were all acquired by Entertainment Earth. If you're interested on where to buy them, I do have links in the caption as well as on collectjurassic.com. You can buy most of this stuff right now if you want. I highly recommend Toro, Carcharodontosaurus, Stegosaurus, and these Roar Attack figures are awesome too. I think I'm impartial to Ceratosaurus, but Bumpy's great as well. So awesome toys. As always, everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Tim with Collect Jurassic, and I'll see you next time.